Hey, what's up everybody? Alf here with another, I guess, informational video for you. Something that I've been playing around with, been trying to make more of. And today we're going to talk about the Valentine's event. Pokemon Go always does a Valentine's event. We do have one coming up. In fact, it starts... Well, it probably has already started for some of you. It starts for me in about an hour. But we're going to talk a little bit about this event from the perspective of a battler, somebody who is engaged with the Trainer Battles feature, who plays GBL, just to talk a little bit about the event, what you should be working on, what you should be focused on, where the value is for you here. So without further ado, why don't we dive in and take a look? So, as I mentioned, the Valentine's Day runs from Thursday, Feb 10th to February 14th. That's Valentine's Day proper. And as you can see, the highlight is a new Pokemon release. We get Flabebe, Floret, and Florges. These are Pokemon that you may not be familiar with. You're like me and you've only played the old games. These are still in that awkward middle realm between when I played as a kid and when I play now, so they're all new to me. One thing about these Pokemon, there actually is a reason to care. Florges in particular has some play in Master League, particularly Master League Classic Premier, much like Walrein, where it's just not quite ready for the big leagues, so to speak. It's not going to keep up with some of those legendaries. It's actually quite good in that. So you are going to be looking for a high IV Florges, or even better, a high IV Lucky Florges if you can afford and arrange those trades. The colors don't mean anything to us. They're all exactly the same. One other little note about this line: currently there seems to be a bug where if you're going to evolve a Florges, you need to earn your buddy hearts on Floette and not on Flabebe. So if you do get a perfect one, it might not hurt to evolve it to the middle stage and then go from there. Now, it is a 3-stage evolution. It's always possible that we'll see a community day for it somewhere down the line. My recommendation always on Pokemon like this is, if you don't intend to use it today, don't build it. Don't spend the dust. Don't evolve it. Keep it earmarked for use and leave it as is. Master League Premier Classic is not, well, I guess it is a format right now. So you could run it if you can muster all of the resources and you want to give it a try. If you're that kind of player, go to town. If you're that kind of player, you're not going to worry about acquiring a second one or using an Elite TM for a potential community day move. But that is always my advice on Pokemon like that. When you're ready to use them, build them. Until then, hold on to them, keep them safe, keep them sound, and we'll go from there. Now, of course, there's other spawns in the event, so let's take a look real quick. We do have event bonuses. We've got double lures. We've got extra buddy Pokemon gifts, and we've got extra catch candy. None of these things are all that exciting. The catch candy will be nice for, obviously, the new Pokemon, but realistically, there's no XL bonus here. So honestly, I just don't think that's going to matter. We do have a Valentine's Day global bonus for transfer candy. That's lovely. One quick reminder: Johto Tour is coming in well, about 12 days, 2 weeks. You should take advantage of this triple transfer. It's a long stretch of triple transfer. Once it goes live, we're going to hit this goal no problem. So I will absolutely recommend that if you're going to do any inventory management ahead of Hoppip Community Day, potentially, and ahead of Johto Tour, you should do it with this on. It takes the sting off of deleting, say, legendaries a little bit, because you should probably pare down if you haven't done so since, say, Go Fest last year. We do get a new doggo form. Again, this is nothing for us as a battler. If you are into this, good for you. It's a great Pokemon. I like the trim. Maybe if I collect lucky level 1s, maybe I'll do the heart trim for my Furfrou, because why not? It's a fun, stupid thing to do. We do have collection challenges. We're going to get Furlish out of those. That's good. You know that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But ultimately, there's not a ton here. One Furlish, especially high IV Furlish, isn't actually all that exciting for us, but it's an XL if you can afford to trade them. And the last other non-sort of spawn bonus is that Gallade and Gardevoir are going to get their community day moves for a second go-around. They'll both be able to learn Synchronize. On neither of these Pokemon is this move particularly good. There are fringe arguments for it on, I think I would say, Gallade, but we're talking fringe. If you have an extra one, doesn't hurt to have one with Synchronize, in particular an Ultra League one with Synchronize, but I really think it's not the move. It always is nice to have one. They could always adjust this move. They could always buff it. They could always change it. It doesn't hurt to have one, so if you can make one, I think it's probably a good idea. But generally speaking, Gallade does its job best with Leaf Blade in close combat. Gardevoir does its job best with nothing. Gardevoir's not particularly potent. If you're going to use Gardevoir, you're likely using it simply as a Shadow Charmer, because it does hit pretty hard. But Gallade is definitely worth keeping in mind. It's just not, Synchronize isn't the move. You're probably better off not evolving a Gallade during this event, frankly. But having one around, not a bad idea. The Fringe case, I guess, because I know some of you are going to want to know, it takes one less confusion to get to 2 Synchronize versus 2 Psychics. That's basically it. If there's a scenario where you want the psychic damage and you need 2, Synchronize is technically better. Technically. But we're getting really, 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 really technical here. And I just don't think that outcome matters enough for you to give up all of the things that Gallade does. The place I could see this being a thing is a safe swap in, say, Ultra Premier, where potentially their best counter to it resists both Leaf Blade and close combat, a Charizard, a Golbat, something that has to shield, and that there's a scenario where you get to 2 in the 1 shield matchup. Again, very fringe. Doesn't hurt to have one, but probably not what you're going to be doing unless you are playing a gimmick strat, which, let's be real, sometimes works. So let's take a look at our wild encounters. Like I said, the Flabébés are regional based on color. However, you shouldn't worry about that because they are all identical. But when we take a look at our actual spawns for Frau down at the bottom, we've got Chansey, Plusle, Minun, Volbeat, Illuminize, Love Disc, and Woobat. Don't worry, I'm going to mispronounce Pokemon names. I hope you like that because that's kind of my shtick. This is a really underwhelming list, y'all. I don't think I need to tell you, there's not a lot here for us. Minun is fringe playable. It's bulky. It's decent. Illumise has fringe playability, same with Volbeat, but not really. Not with the way that they're currently built with the moves. Everything else on this list, with one exception, is essentially not relevant for PvP. It essentially is, it's irrelevant. It doesn't do anything for you. The exception is Chansey. And even Chansey, you kind of have to be a monster to really care about Chansey. Now, we could talk a little bit about Chansey. Chansey's Pokemon you're going to need XLs for. It does need to be max. It needs to be best buddied. I also will remind you that Chansey can be very good in Little Cup style formats. Those are 500 CP formats. So finding a decent one for that is also not a bad idea. I don't think it's a bad idea to grind XLs for Chansey during this event. Save them, trade them, do what you're going to do. You may or may not ever be the kind of person who wants to use a Chansey, but they don't give us a ton of opportunities to grind those XLs. And I think this is a good chance to do it. Beyond that, I don't think there's anything here you really need to worry about besides the Flabébés, which is great. Just go ahead and worry about those, re-roll those. You won't need the XLs for them, but that doesn't really seem to matter. I would say that they are worth saving one for each league, but primarily you're looking for a high IV one because I think that's going to be the place that it will potentially see play. Beyond that, it's more of a meme. It could have use in a limited format, but I really think Master League Premier Classic is the place you would use it. So that's what you would focus on. Lucky for us, though, there are other ways to acquire Pokemon during this event, and we also do have a handful of other spawns, and those spawns coming at a higher rare rate. The only one here that you should really care about is Alomomola, which is a Pokemon that if you're playing Love Cup right now, you know can be quite good. It is also a Pokemon that reaches Ultra League levels with XLs, so it's definitely a Pokemon to care about, and a little reminder that Audino is bonus Stardust quite a lot, in fact, so those are going to be worth picking up as well. But Fish is good. You should have a Great League Fish. Highly recommend a Great League Fish if you don't already have one. And it is worth considering it for Ultra League as sort of a flex pick. Or if we ever get Ultra League limited metas, that is something to consider. But on to the more important thing, if you do in fact care about the best value out of this event when it comes to battling. And let's get into raids. None of these 1-star raids really matter much, although Audino is a great place to spend a daily pass if you don't have any other place to spend it, because it is bonus. But when we get into 3-star raids, things get interesting. In particular, Lickitung. Look, I'm really torn about this because I'm not going to spend money on Lickitung XLs. That's not how I play the game. That said, Lickitung is very good in Great League, requires XLs. If you really want to be competitive, you should probably be looking for Lickitung raids. Even if you're only using your free passes on Lickitung, that's still good value. But Lickitung is exceptional, and it does require XLs, and it has not functionally been available in events for going on a year. So it is really good value here, despite the fact that I hate the fact that it's here. So there's that. Nido Queen is also nice if you do need Nido XLs. I can't imagine you do if you've been paying any real close attention, but if you're a newer player, you just recently hit level 40, Nido Queen XLs are good. It's quite good in Ultra League, and you do need XLs for that. Lastly, I think you all probably know this, but Zap Cannon Registeel is a menace, particularly again in Ultra League. It does not hurt to make sure you grab one. A couple of my esteemed colleagues here have done some good analysis. You really don't need optimal IVs for Zap Cannon Registeel. It doesn't pick up much. So just make sure you get one. Get that 10, 15, 14 if you can find it. It is definitely worth doing. If you already have a really good Ultra League built, you might want to just consider the Elite TM. This is actually what I like to save my Elite TMs for. Legendaries with timed exclusive moves. They tend to be really, really useful, especially in places where you may need a specific set of hard to acquire IVs, like a traded Registeel. It just makes more sense to Elite TM than to worry about grinding out that trade thing again. Registeel is a monster. You should have one. I think you already know this. I think there's plenty of coverage on that, but worth noting. I think Lickitung is still better value, I'm perfectly honest, given that you probably already have a Registeel and you can Elite TM it. But it's going to be worth doing. So if you don't have one, make sure you nab one while they're around at low cost to you. Now, in the field research land, we do have another set of Pokemon, and I've already talked about Alomomola down there at the bottom, the If You're Lucky tier, which is always a tricky place to be. But the other two Pokemon to consider, you can get Frillish out of research, and that's pretty good. Frillish are obviously excellent. Jellicent is a very good Pokemon in both Great League and Ultra League, and the Ultra League variant requires XLs. So let's get grinding. Those are going to be worth doing. The top 4 tasks, I guess, Ralts, if you really want them, but honestly, I just don't think that's really particularly worth doing. So you'll definitely be looking at that bottom tier, looking at Alomomola, Frillish, and seeing how many of those you can put together. Then there's some cosmetic stuff down at the bottom. Hooray. I have some friends who love cosmetics. I don't care, and they truly never bother me. I wish the game would have more cosmetics. I wish they would put more time and energy into putting into cosmetics that we could purchase, so that people who like cosmetics can subsidize those of us who don't, and maybe they could not put so many things behind the raid gate. But either way, we do also have a bonus box as well that's looking not bad, right? It's basically a bunch of free stuff if you buy 3 lure modules, which honestly is not a bad deal. 300 coins is a pretty reasonable box price as well for those of us who grind mostly free to play coins. It's worth taking a look at. But yeah, I think ultimately, you know, that's not that exciting of an event. I do think there's some stuff here, and luckily having a new Pokemon available in this event is a nice touch. It gives us something to grind for if you are like me and collect. I hope it's a good one for you. I hope you have a lovely Valentine's Day. Let me know what you think. I wish we had Lickitungs in the wild or in research. Either of those would have been fine. That really would salvage this entire event as if we had Lickitungs, because that is the one Pokemon here that I think most of us really probably want from a battling standpoint. But ultimately, I hope you have fun with it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.